There was supposed to be a deal, a kind of contract, signed by generations before us and then handed down. It was simple. Go to school, work hard, be loyal, and in return, you'd get a stable career, a home that you could actually afford, and a future that you could count on. But for millions of us, the contract is broken. We held up our end of the bargain, but the rewards, they never really showed up. Instead, we got record-breaking debt, soul-crushing professional pressure, and this constant, humming stress that became the soundtrack to our lives. This isn't a pity party for a lazy generation. It's the story of a broken promise. The story of our stress really kicks off with a global epidemic earthquake, the 2008 financial crisis. Just as many of us were graduating from college, optimistic and ready to go, the entire job market vanished. This wasn't just a little bump in the road. Economics say it left a permanent scar on our financial lives. Studies show that millennials who graduated into that recession started out earning way less than previous generations, a gap that most of us have never been able to close. We were told we were playing by the rules, but it felt like someone had rewritten the entire game overnight. To even get a foot in the door of this new hyper-competitive market, a college degree went from being a good idea to an absolute requirement. So we invested in ourselves. The result? We became the most educated generation in history, but also the most indebted. The average student loan for a millennial sits at about $40,438. That's not just a number. It's a weight that has forced us to delay buying homes, getting married, or starting families. It's the price we had to pay just to get into a game that feels rigged from the very start. With all of that debt, we faced a housing market that had gone completely off the rails. The national home price-to-income ratio is still incredibly high, way above what's considered normal. What does that mean in plain English? Well, even with a degree and a decent job, the dream of owning a home feels impossible for a huge part of our generation. We're stuck renting for longer, unable to build the kind of security our parents and grandparents took for granted. The professional world we walked into is just different. That old promise of a stable 9-to-5 with pension, it's been replaced by the gig economy, short-term contracts, and a relentless hustle culture. We live in a world where we're always on, always connected, and the line between work and life has been completely erased. This non-stop pressure has made millennials the most burned out generation, with some reports showing 66% of us feel it on a regular basis. That's even higher than the Gen X and Gen Z. And this isn't just a feeling a little bit tired, it's a deep soul-level exhaustion, both physical and mental. Money worries are one of the biggest drivers for this. Nearly half of all millennials have had a panic or an anxiety attack just thinking about their finances. On top of it all, many of us are becoming the new sandwich generation. Caught between the staggering cost of raising our own kids while also trying to care for our aging parents. It's a perfect storm of pressure, and it is taking a huge psychological toll. So if this sounds like your story, you are not alone. Share your experience in the comments below, and let's all talk about it. So yeah, we're all stressed. We're all anxious. We are definitely tired. But if you think that's the whole story, you're missing the most important part. We are a generation that was forged in a crisis, and that has made us resilient. The old finish lines, the house, the 30-year career, the straight and narrow path, they don't apply to a lot of us anymore. So we are creating new ones. Success isn't just a job title or the size of a mortgage now. It's about finding a real work-life balance. It's about protecting our mental health. It's about building communities and finding a sense of purpose outside of those old traditional structures. The broken promise forced us to look for meaning in places our parents might have overlooked. We might be the generation that was handed a broken contract, but we're also the one that's rewriting it from scratch. The stress is real, but so is our fight to build a different, more meaningful future for ourselves. The constant stress that defines the millennial experience isn't a personal failure. It's a completely understandable reaction to a system of challenges we were never prepared for. By understanding the forces that shaped us, from the 2008 crash to student debt to the insane demands of modern work, we can finally give ourselves a break and stop blaming ourselves. Remember, stay thoughtful and stay stubborn.